January 17, 2008. For nearly 11 hours, British Airways Flight 38 has crossed some of the coldest skies on Earth. The Boeing 777 left Beijing the previous evening, bound for London Heathrow, carrying 136 passengers and 16 crew members. Now, the journey is almost over. Outside the cockpit windows, southern England stretches into view beneath a blanket of winter clouds. Air traffic is flowing normally. Weather conditions are favourable. To everyone on board, this will be just another routine landing after a long overnight flight. But hidden deep inside the aircraft, something has already begun to change. A problem is silently developing. No warning lights illuminate. No system messages appear. And neither pilot has any reason to suspect that, within minutes, one of aviation's most mysterious accidents will unfold. This is the story of British Airways Flight 38, a flight that changed the aviation industry forever. On the evening of January 17th, ground crews at Beijing Capital International Airport prepare a Boeing 777-200ER for its long-haul flight to London Heathrow. The aircraft is powered by two Rolls-Royce Trent 800 engines, among the most reliable engines operating anywhere in the world. Its fuel tanks are loaded with approximately 79,000 kilograms of Jet A1 fuel, more than enough for the 8,100-kilometer journey across Asia and Europe. Everything about the aircraft checks out. Maintenance records reveal no unresolved defects. Every inspection has been completed. The aircraft is cleared for departure. In the left seat sits Captain Peter Burkill, an experienced airline captain with more than 12,000 hours of flight time, including thousands on the Boeing 777. Beside him is Senior First Officer John Coward, another highly experienced pilot with nearly 9,000 flying hours. Together, they represent decades of airline experience. There are no trainees on the flight deck. No unusual procedures. No indication that this flight will demand anything beyond a standard long-haul operation. Shortly after departure, Flight 38 climbs into the night sky above northern China. Its route takes it across Mongolia, then Siberia, before finally crossing northern Europe toward the United Kingdom. For hours, the aircraft cruises smoothly at 40,000 feet, where outside temperatures plunge to nearly -70 degrees Celsius. Conditions like these are common for polar routes. The crew monitors fuel temperatures carefully throughout the flight. Everything remains comfortably within operational limits. Nothing appears unusual. But high above Siberia, a process invisible to both pilots is quietly beginning. Like every commercial jet, the aircraft's fuel contains tiny amounts of dissolved water. Normally, it poses no threat. The fuel system is specifically designed to handle it. Yet after many hours in extreme cold, microscopic ice crystals begin forming inside the fuel. They are almost impossible to detect. Too small for instruments. Too small to trigger warnings. And far too small for anyone in the cockpit to notice. At this stage, they are completely harmless. Or so it seems. As dawn breaks over Europe, British Airways Flight 38 continues toward London exactly as planned. Passengers begin waking after the overnight flight. Cabin crew prepare the aircraft for arrival. The pilots receive their descent clearance into Heathrow. Everything is proceeding exactly according to schedule. But beneath the calm professionalism inside the cockpit, the conditions for an unprecedented engine failure are slowly falling into place. And neither Boeing, nor Rolls-Royce, nor the crew themselves know what's about to happen. As Flight 38 begins its descent toward London, nothing appears out of the ordinary. The Boeing 777 has performed flawlessly for nearly 11 hours. Every checklist has been completed. Every system indication remains normal. From the flight deck, Heathrow is already coming into view. Air traffic control clears the aircraft for its approach to runway 27 left. The crew configures the airplane exactly as they have hundreds of times before. Flaps extend. The landing gear lowers. Speed continues to decrease for landing. To everyone on board, this is just another routine arrival. But deep inside both engines, a chain of events that began thousands of kilometers earlier is about to reach its breaking point. Throughout the long cruise over Siberia, microscopic ice crystals had been slowly collecting inside a component known as the Fuel Oil Heat Exchanger, or FOOG. This device performs a critical job. Before fuel enters the combustion chamber, it passes through the heat exchanger, where warm engine oil raises its temperature. Under normal conditions, the system works perfectly. But the FOOAK contains an extremely fine network of narrow passages. Over hours of flight, tiny ice crystals can cling to these surfaces without causing any immediate problems. During cruise, engine power remains low. Fuel demand is steady. The crystals simply remain where they are. Invisible. Harmless. Waiting. One detail makes this flight especially unique. Flight 38 is lighter than usual. With fewer passengers and less cargo, the aircraft requires less engine thrust during cruise. Lower thrust means lower fuel flow. And slower moving fuel allows those microscopic ice crystals more time to accumulate inside the heat exchangers. No warning system is designed to detect this, because no one even knows it's happening. Now, the aircraft descends through just a few thousand feet. The pilots continue following Heathrow's glide path. Everything is stabilized. Landing clearance is issued. Ahead, the runway lights shine through the winter afternoon. Only a few miles remain. As the aircraft slows for landing, aerodynamic drag begins increasing. To maintain the correct approach speed, the auto throttle automatically commands additional engine power. Normally, this happens without anyone even noticing. The thrust levers move forward. The engines accelerate. The aircraft maintains its speed. But this time, something is different. The sudden increase in fuel demand forces a much larger volume of fuel through the heat exchangers. The accumulated ice is no longer sitting quietly. It begins breaking free. Thousands of microscopic ice crystals surge toward the narrow passages inside both fuel systems. Within seconds, those passages begin to clog. Fuel flow becomes restricted. Not completely. Just enough. Enough to prevent the engines from producing the power being demanded. At approximately 720 feet above the ground, the first signs appear. The right engine stops responding normally. The auto throttle commands more thrust, but engine power barely increases. There is no explosion, no fire, no compressor stall. The engine simply refuses to accelerate. 7 seconds later, the left engine does exactly the same. Now both engines are producing only a fraction of the thrust required to keep the aircraft on the glide path. For one of the world's most advanced airliners, this situation is almost unimaginable. Inside the cockpit, the crew immediately realizes something is terribly wrong. And with less than a minute remaining before touchdown, they have almost no time left to understand why. There are only seconds left. The runway is directly ahead. From the passenger cabin, nothing seems dramatically wrong. Most travelers are preparing for landing, unaware that both engines are no longer producing the power the aircraft desperately needs. Inside the cockpit, the situation is unfolding at terrifying speed. The auto throttle continues commanding more thrust. The thrust levers move fully forward. But the engines refuse to respond. They are still running. They haven't failed completely. Yet they are producing little more than idle power. Every second, the Boeing 777 loses precious airspeed. And with it, altitude. Captain Peter Burkill immediately understands the gravity of the situation. This isn't a routine engine malfunction. It isn't a single engine failure. Both engines have stopped responding almost simultaneously. An event so rare that most airline pilots will never encounter anything remotely similar in their entire careers. There is no checklist for what they're experiencing. No warning explains the cause. No computer identifies the failure. Only one fact is becoming painfully clear. The aircraft is no longer going to reach the runway. As warning chimes echo through the cockpit, the crew focuses on one objective: stretch every meter of remaining glide. Captain Burkill quickly selects flaps 25, retracting them from the landing setting. It's a calculated gamble. Reducing flap angle decreases drag, allowing the aircraft to glide slightly farther. But it also increases landing speed. If they do make the runway, the touchdown will be much faster. If they don't, the consequences could be catastrophic. The aircraft continues descending. 600 feet. 500. 400. Outside the windshield, Heathrow fills the pilot's view. The runway seems almost within reach. Yet the aircraft continues sinking below the normal glide path. It simply doesn't have enough energy. Moments later, the Boeing crosses the busy A30 road, missing vehicles below by only a small margin. It clears the airport's perimeter fence, but only just. Beyond the fence lies a narrow strip of grass separating the aircraft from the runway. The crew knows exactly what's about to happen. There is no longer any possibility of flying around. There is only one option left. Fly the aircraft all the way to the ground. At 12:42 p.m. local time, British Airways Flight 38 impacts the grass just short of runway 27 left. The landing gear collapses under the tremendous force. Both engines tear away from the wings. The aircraft slides violently across the ground, scattering dirt, debris, and metal in every direction. Inside the cabin, passengers are thrown forward as the aircraft grinds to a halt. For a few terrifying moments, silence. Then, the evacuation begins. One danger overshadows every crash landing: fire. With ruptured fuel tanks and damaged engines, investigators would normally expect a post-impact inferno. But incredibly, it never happens. The fuel fails to ignite. Emergency slides deploy within seconds. Cabin, crew, guide passengers toward the exits with remarkable discipline, despite the chaos surrounding them. One by one, all 136 passengers and 16 crew members escape. Every single person survives. Only a handful suffer serious injuries. Considering the violence of the impact, the outcome borders on miraculous. Across Heathrow Airport, emergency responders arrive within moments. Smoke rises from the wreckage. The first Boeing 777 ever written off in an accident now sits motionless at the edge of one of the world's busiest runways. But the greatest mystery has only just begun. How could one of the safest aircraft ever built, powered by two independent engines, suffer an almost identical loss of thrust in both engines, only seconds before landing? Investigators are about to uncover an answer that no one in the aviation industry had ever imagined. In the hours following the accident, runway 27 left is closed as investigators secure the scene. For the first time in its history, a Boeing 777 has been damaged beyond economic repair during an accident. Yet the greatest surprise isn't the wreckage. It's the fact that everyone survived. Now, investigators face a far more difficult challenge. Why did both engines fail to deliver thrust at exactly the same stage of flight? The United Kingdom's Air Accidents Investigation Branch, better known as the AAAB, launches an extensive investigation. The aircraft's flight data recorder and cockpit voice recorder are recovered almost immediately. Engineers begin analyzing thousands of flight parameters, hoping one of them will reveal the cause. At first, nothing does. Electrical systems, normal. Hydraulic systems, normal. The flight controls, operating exactly as designed. The pilots, they followed every procedure correctly. Even the engines themselves show no signs of catastrophic mechanical failure. There was no explosion, no bird strike, no contaminated fuel, no software malfunction. Every obvious explanation is eliminated. Attention then shifts to the engine's fuel system. Engineers discover unusual damage inside the high-pressure fuel pumps. The pumps had been working, but they hadn't been receiving enough fuel. Something had restricted the flow. The question was, what? To find the answer, investigators joined forces with Boeing, Rolls-Royce, and aviation specialists from around the world. Using the aircraft's recorded flight data, they recreate the exact conditions experienced by Flight 38. Fuel temperatures, outside air temperatures, engine power settings, cruise altitude, flight duration. Again, and again, and again. Months pass with no clear answer. Then, a breakthrough. The culprit isn't frozen fuel. It isn't dirt. It isn't wax. It's something far smaller. Microscopic ice crystals. During the aircraft's long flight through extreme cold, tiny amounts of naturally occurring water inside the fuel had frozen into almost invisible crystals. For hours, they accumulated inside the fuel oil heat exchanger without affecting engine performance. But during the final approach, when engine power increased, the sudden surge of fuel swept those crystals directly against the exchanger's fine internal passages. The restriction wasn't total, just enough to starve both engines of the fuel needed to produce full thrust. The engines continued running, but they could no longer respond when the pilots needed them most. It was a failure mode no one had ever seen before. The discovery sent shockwaves throughout the aviation industry. Although incredibly rare, the problem isn't unique to this single flight. Months later, another Boeing 777, powered by Rolls-Royce Trent, 800 engines, experiences a similar loss of engine response. This time, the crew lands safely before disaster strikes. The evidence is now undeniable. A design change is required. Rolls-Royce engineers redesigned the fuel oil heat exchanger, allowing microscopic ice crystals to pass safely through the system instead of collecting inside it. Regulators around the world move quickly. Modified heat exchangers become mandatory across affected fleets. An accident that could have remained an unsolved mystery instead becomes one of aviation's most valuable safety lessons. As for the crew of British Airways Flight 38, their actions earn widespread recognition. Captain Peter Burkill, First Officer John Coward, and the entire cabin crew are honoured for their professionalism under extraordinary pressure. Faced with an emergency no simulator had ever prepared them for, they remained calm. They adapted. and they gave every person on board the best possible chance of survival. British Airways Flight 38 reminds us that aviation safety is built on constant learning. Sometimes, the greatest threats aren't dramatic explosions or obvious mechanical failures. Sometimes, they're hidden inside the smallest details. Details so subtle that no one even knows they exist. Until one flight changes everything. Because of the investigation that followed Flight 38, the hidden flaw was found. The design was improved, and future crews would never have to face the same unknown. 152 people walked away from the edge of disaster. And because of what they unknowingly helped uncover, countless more would fly safely in the years that followed.